Captain Jake Morrison stood on the command deck of the UHS Thunderstrike, gazing at the endless stars through the vast view screen. The vessel drifted through the void like a colossal blade slicing night itself. For 3 years they had charted this sector, uncovering nothing but barren planets and lifeless stone. Morrison rubbed his weary eyes, scanning the duty roster. 12 more hours before his watch ended. The Thunderstrike remained humanity's crown jewel. 2 kilometers of steel, armed with weapons strong enough to fracture a moon. Her crew of 800 represented Earth's brightest, scientists, warriors, engineers, and pioneers, all united to push humanity's reach further into the abyss. At her station sat Lisa Carter, fingers threading through strands of blonde hair as she monitored long-range sensors. Space spoke in static and silence, a constant hum in her ears. 6 months into this post, she often wondered if anything worth discovering truly existed among these distant suns. Then, without warning, her console exploded with alarms. Streams of energy signatures burst across her screen like flares in the dark. Lisa snapped upright, frantically running diagnostics. The data defied belief. Nothing human-built produced such power. "Captain Morrison to the bridge," she called, her urgent tone turning heads across the deck. Morrison strode quickly to her station, eyes narrowing as he studied the bizarre patterns scrolling across her monitors. They pulsed and shifted with deliberate precision, almost alive. "Where is it coming from?" he asked, leaning over her shoulder. "The Kepler 442 system, sir. 6 light hours away. Signal began 3 minutes ago, and it's growing stronger." At that moment, Chief Science Officer Dr. Alan Brooks rushed onto the bridge, tablet clutched in his hand. His gray beard was unkempt, uniform creased from being pulled from sleep by the emergency summons. "Captain, I need immediate access to those readings," Brooks said, plugging into Lisa's station. Graphs and numbers cascaded across his device as ship computers fed him sensor data. The bridge fell silent as he analyzed in grim focus. His expression darkened with each passing second. Finally, he looked up, eyes wide. "Captain, these signatures are without doubt artificial. The complexity is too refined, too deliberate. This is technology. Technology far beyond our reach." A cold shiver slid through Morrison. Humanity had scoured the stars for centuries, and every lead proved false. Every world was barren, every strange reading mere cosmic noise. But these signals, these burned with intent. How advanced? Morrison asked softly. Brooks's voice was low, almost reverent. "The energy output alone is staggering. Whoever or whatever is generating this could fuel our ship for a year. In a single burst, generating every second. If this is weapons fire, the force could vaporize entire asteroids." Admiral Patricia Kane stepped out of the elevator in full dress uniform. Assigned as Fleet Command's observer, she had joined the Thunderstrike to record its exploratory mission. Small in stature but sharp-eyed, Kane carried the weight of 30 years' service. Every movement radiated the certainty of someone forged in hard choices. "Report," she ordered. Striding toward the captain's chair, Morrison quickly summarized the sensor readings and Brooks's conclusion. Kane listened in silence, then examined the data herself. Her expression remained unreadable, but Morrison could sense her mind racing. "Captain, set course for Kepler 442, maximum stealth. I want us invisible to scans." "Yes, Admiral." "Lisa, alert engineering. Stealth protocols active. Navigation, plot an indirect approach. We won't be detected before we understand what we're facing." At once the bridge filled with focused urgency. Engines shifted harmonic as the Thunderstrike adjusted course. Stealth plating slid into place, cloaking the ship in the background noise of space. Navigation Officer Kelly Brooks charted a route behind a dense asteroid field, providing cover while they observed. From engineering, Chief Sam Phillips confirmed all systems running at peak efficiency, the ship now all but invisible. Hours crawled by as they neared the system. The energy signatures only grew stronger, weaving into a complex tapestry of power. Brooks counted at least 40 distinct sources, far more than a lone vessel. Morrison's steps echoed across the deck. His mind swirled with questions. Could this be first contact? Scientists or conquerors? Lisa's console chimed. Her face went pale as she read the display. "Captain, weapon discharges, high-energy particle beams, and something else. Matter disruption tech. There's a battle underway. Kane stepped beside Morrison, laying a steady hand on his shoulder. Captain, prepare the crew for combat. We don't know what lies ahead, but we'll be ready. Morrison nodded, his voice carrying across the ship. All hands, this is Captain Morrison. We're approaching unknown alien forces. All stations to combat readiness. This is not a drill. The Thunderstrike glided silently forward, sensors painting a picture of destruction beyond human imagination. Flashes of violence flared across the void. The crew had signed up for discovery, not war, but now stood on the threshold of something far larger than themselves. They dropped from hyperspace at the system's edge. Morrison's gaze locked on the main screen, and his blood ran cold. Dozens of crystalline ships prowled the darkness, sleek predators lit from within by an ominous radiance. Each was 3 times the size of the Thunderstrike. Their translucent hulls revealed inner geometries that twisted the very idea of engineering. At the science station, Dr. Brooks worked feverishly, his instruments straining to parse the impossible. These ships bent space itself around their forms, weapon systems humming with alien fury. Their systems screamed under the load as alien technology flooded the sensors. I'm picking up at least 30 large vessels, Dr. Brooks said, voice tight. Unknown configurations. Their tech's so advanced our arrays can barely track them. They're using space-time manipulation for propulsion, and their weapons operate on molecular disruption. Morrison watched the tactical display refresh with new data. The alien fleet had formed a flawless hunting ring around a cluster of smaller craft that were clearly trying to flee. The pursued ships were different in design, diverse, battered, desperate, but hopelessly outmatched. Energy lances stitched the void as the larger vessels cut their prey apart. Lisa, any communications traffic between them? Morrison asked. Multiple transmission bands, she replied, eyes glued to her screens. But no recognizable language. The computer is looking for patterns, but building a translation matrix will take time. Lieutenant Commander Ryan Cole at the weapons console studied the signatures, jaw clenched. He knew how things killed other things. His job was to anticipate that exact moment, and what he saw chilled him. Captain, those big ships, they're using disintegration tech. Whatever they hit simply ceases to exist. No explosion, no debris, nothing. The smaller vessel's beams barely even scratch the attackers' shields. Admiral Kane stood behind Morrison, professional composure in place but eyes hard. She'd seen combat but never such a disparity. This was not a fight so much as an execution. We need to close, she said. I want detailed scans. Get us into active sensor range. Use the asteroid field for cover. Kelly Brooks plotted a route threading the Thunderstrike through a dense cluster of rock. The debris would mask their approach and provide multiple egress options if things went sideways. The ship slipped through the field like a hunter in tall grass. As they drew nearer, the scale of the slaughter revealed itself. The smaller craft were being methodically obliterated. One by one, they dissolved into motes of light beneath the alien beams. Morrison felt his stomach drop. My God! They're committing genocide, Lisa breathed, voice shaking. She fought to keep focused as the bridge watched massacre unfold in real time. Brooks managed clearer reads on the fleeing vessels, and what he discovered turned horror into heartbreak. Life support traces, low-signature habitation modules, patterns consistent with civilian traffic. Captain, those are refugee transports. Families, children, elders. These aren't military targets. Anger rose in Morrison like a hot tide. Protocol bound him to observe and report, to avoid contact until diplomats could be involved. He was trained to hold back, but watching innocence erased while he idly recorded it contravened everything he believed. From engineering, Chief Sam Phillips reported all systems green and primed. Fusion cores were at full throttle, power ready on demand. Weapons had been quietly brought online, loaded with their most effective rounds. Captain, Sam said over the net, if we're going to intervene, it has to be now. That civilian convoy won't last more than 10 minutes at this rate. Admiral Kane examined the tactical overlay with the cold precision of a lifetime making life-or-death choices. The prudent course, withdraw and report. Earth must know what's out here. But withdrawal meant watching a species be exterminated. Captain, assess our chances, she asked. Morrison ran numbers that felt absurd. The enemy was larger, swifter, and armed with matter-erasing weapons. The Thunderstrike was durable, but one vessel against 30 was a grim proposition. Still, there were edge cases. Their weapons were largely kinetic, not energy-based. The aliens might not expect projectile barrages. Their armor, designed for micrometeor impacts, could blunt some energy hits. Kane considered, then nodded. Earth will forgive a tactical retreat. Earth will also understand a stand taken to save lives. Her voice carried the weight of conviction. Captain, bring us about. Intercept those ships. All hands, battle stations. We'll show them humanity doesn't stand by and watch genocide. The massive battleship swung onto a new heading toward the alien fleet. Weapons came online, shields flared to full, and 800 human souls braced to meet the unknown. Whatever happened in the next minutes would decide not only their fate, but perhaps the future of their entire species. The Thunderstrike erupted from the asteroid belt like an angel of vengeance wrought from steel. Stealth fields dropped away as all engines drove her forward at maximum thrust. Her sudden appearance froze the duel between hunter and prey as sensors across dozens of ships locked onto the new arrival. Fleet Commander Vexathera stood on the command deck of his flagship, studying the crude vessel that dared intrude upon his hunt. The Zephyrian Empire had crushed 17 star systems, enslaving species for 1,000 years. Never had he seen a warship so primitive. Scan that vessel. Identify its origin, he ordered, eyes narrowed. The comms officer worked quickly. Commander, no record of this design exists in our archives. Its technology is primitive, closer to our ships of 8 centuries past. Through his display, Vexathera examined the intruder. It looked like scrap welded by children playing at war. No energy shields, no particle lances, no antimatter drive, just crude alloys and chemical engines. Weapons appeared to be nothing more than kinetic mass drivers firing metal slugs. Power drawn from nuclear fusion instead of antimatter. Vexathera laughed coldly. Open a channel. I would speak to this relic before I add it to my tally of victories. On the Thunderstrike's bridge, Morrison watched as the Zephyrians shifted attention from the refugees to his ship. The weight of 800 lives pressed on him with crushing force. Captain, Lisa said, receiving a transmission from their flagship. Translator is working, but it'll need a few minutes for clarity. At the science station, Dr. Brooks' fingers flew as he pulled readings from the enemy fleet. His sensors screamed warnings. Captain, their weapons are charging. I'm detecting energy buildups consistent with quantum-level molecular disruption. They're targeting us now. Kane studied the tactical plot as 30 alien warships spread into a tightening circle around the lone human vessel. The odds were absurd, but her eyes held steel. Sometimes wars weren't won by greater weapons, but by greater will. Captain, arm all systems. Load rail guns with tungsten penetrators. Prep missile tubes for rapid fire. If they want to fight, they'll remember it. At last, the translators locked. A voice thundered through the Thunderstrike's bridge, soaked with arrogance born of centuries of dominance. The logical military choice was to retreat and warn Earth of this terrifying new adversary. But sometimes logic demanded abandoning the very ideals that made humanity worth saving. Helm, put us between the alien fleet and those refugees, Morrison ordered. All hands battle stations. We don't back down from tyrants, no matter how advanced their toys may be. The Thunderstrike slid into position, interposing her steel bulk between the frightened refugee flotilla and the looming alien armada. Her crew moved with steady hands and cool precision, though they knew the odds stacked against them were staggering. This was humanity's first encounter with intelligent life beyond Earth, and they would not tarnish their species' honor by fleeing. Captain, Lieutenant Commander Cole reported, all weapons charged. Railguns are hot, nuclear warheads armed, shields and countermeasures at maximum. Morrison's eyes never left the tactical display. Then we stand ready. Across the void, alien vessels spread into a deadly formation. Energy surged through their ranks, building toward a synchronized storm. They're preparing to concentrate fire on our position, Cole warned. A cruel smile touched Vexathera's lips as he watched the countdown to 0. The human relic dared to defy the Zephyrian Empire. Then let them embrace oblivion. All ships, he commanded, open fire. Crush that worthless husk and remind the galaxy what becomes of those who resist us. 3 war cruisers unleashed their disintegration beams, each lance a river of annihilation capable of reducing asteroids to vapor. Bolts of searing brilliance arced through the stars, converging on the human ship. Humanity's first battle among the stars had begun. The thunder strike quaked under the fury of chained suns unleashed against her hull. Energy cascaded over her surface like molten fire, ripping at the very bonds of matter. Lights dimmed, alarms shrieked, and power systems screamed with overloads. Morrison gripped his chair as the deck shuddered beneath him. By every expectation, they should have been obliterated in an instant, yet the ship still held. Groaning, sparking, scarred, but alive. Damage reports poured in. Chief Engineer Tony Garcia shouted orders across engineering, dispatching teams to weld ruptured hull plating and reroute power from gutted conduits. Decks 7 through 12 are holed, but main supports are intact. They burned through the outer armor, but the ceramic composites underneath are holding. We're hurt, Captain, but we're not dead. At Science, Dr. Brooks leaned over his screens, mind racing. Captain, I think I know why. Their weapons are quantum disruptors, perfect against crystalline hulls or energy shields. But our ship isn't designed that way. She's old school, layered alloys meant to absorb meteor impacts. Their beams scorch the surface, but they can't chew through to our core defenses. Across the enemy flagship, disbelief spread. Commander Vexathera glared at his tactical plot. 3 direct hits, yet the human vessel still stood, shielding the weak like some crude guardian forged of iron. Explain, he demanded. His weapons officer hesitated. Commander, our disintegration beams are designed for ships with energy-based shielding and brittle hull structures. This alien craft, it's built differently. Their armor absorbs and disperses energy. Our weapons are far less effective against such primitive construction. The Zephyrian commander's chest tightened with rage as he studied the human vessel. Never before had a primitive race endured the Empire's weapons. These upstarts made him look weak before his fleet. Such defiance could not be tolerated. All ships concentrate fire. Focus every beam on one point. We'll tear their armor apart by brute force. On the Thunderstrike's bridge, Morrison watched the alien fleet shift into position for another strike. His crew raced to stabilize systems and patch damage. They had survived the first volley, barely. Another focused barrage could break them. Admiral, Cole reported sharply. Enemy ships moving to encircle. Weapons charging again. We need to fire back before they unleash another wave. Admiral Kane studied the tactical feed as the enemy tightened its noose, circling like predators around wounded prey. If they hesitated, they would be crushed. Captain, Kane said firmly, you are cleared to return fire. Show them what humanity can do when pushed. At tactical, Cole's fingers danced across controls with deadly grace. Railgun capacitors surged as their stored energy prepared to unleash tungsten death. Weapons charged, railguns loaded with armor-piercing rounds. Targets locked on the closest cruisers. Say the word, Captain. Morrison stared at the display. 30 advanced warships against 1 human battleship. Odds that screamed futility. But his crew had sworn to defend Earth even when survival seemed impossible. His jaw set. Fire all weapons. Let's see how their gleaming ships handle raw kinetic force. The Thunderstrike's railguns thundered in unison, spitting tungsten slugs at fractions of light speed. The projectiles slammed into a nearby cruiser with the fury of nuclear detonations compressed into coins. Its crystalline hull shattered like brittle ice, secondary explosions ripping its core apart as internal systems failed. The once proud vessel crumpled, scattering into radiant debris. Vexathera stared in disbelief as his warship died under such crude weapons. Their projectiles pierced shields meant for beams and plasma. The Empire had never faced foes who hurled raw metal at relativistic speeds. All ships, evasive maneuvers, he barked. Maintain distance, those primitive weapons are far deadlier than they appear. The alien fleet scattered like startled prey as the thunder. Strike's second volley streaked through empty space, where ships had hovered moments before. Primitive or not, human railguns carried devastating power the Zephyrian defenses could not counter. At comms, Lisa Carter's headset crackled. The translation matrix was beginning to parse alien speech. Her eyes widened. Captain, I'm intercepting transmissions. Panic spreading. They're calling for reinforcements, demanding tactical analysis of our weapons. They don't know how to defend against kinetic strikes. Morrison allowed himself the briefest smile as the enemy regrouped in disorder. Humanity's crude arsenal had bloodied the mighty Zephyrian fleet, but 30 warships still outnumbered them, and this battle was far from decided. Across the enemy flagship, Vexathera's officers scrambled, running emergency simulations on the alien projectiles. How could such primitive weapons breach their shields? The commander forced his fleet into a new formation, spreading wide for another coordinated assault. On the Thunderstrike, Morrison watched them surround his ship like wolves. The aliens now respected human firepower, but numbers were still on their side. 30 against 1. The odds remained brutal. "Captain," Cole warned, "massive energy buildups detected across their entire fleet. They're preparing to unleash everything they have in one strike. Our armor won't withstand that kind of concentrated fire." Kane's gaze hardened as the tactical display painted the grim picture. The Zephyrians were aligning with cold precision, ready to drown the human ship in overwhelming firepower. Engineer Sam Phillips reported from below decks that the fusion reactors were pushed past safe tolerances. Weapons and shields demanded more power than the systems could sustain. At best, they could keep fighting 10 more minutes before vital systems began collapsing. "Admiral, we're running hot. If this doesn't end soon, we'll start losing the ship whether they hit us or not." At the science station, Dr. Brooks worked furiously, eyes scanning streams of data. The Zephyrian formation moved like hunters circling prey, confident now, but still intent on finishing the kill. "Captain, I found a pattern. Their coordination runs through the flagship. If we eliminate it, the rest of their fleet might falter." Morrison focused on the massive dreadnought at the formation's heart, twice the size of its escorts, bristling with weapons that dwarfed any other vessel. Directly attacking it was suicide, but it might be their only chance to live long enough to save the refugees. Cole ran targeting solutions, hands flying over controls. The flagship's shielded by escorts and its own defenses. A clear shot means exposing ourselves to concentrated fire. If we're going to strike, it has to be now. Across the comms, the refugee flotilla transmitted words of desperation and gratitude. Captain Zarlinin of the Manthari spoke for all of them. "Human vessel, you've already done more than we could ever ask. Even if we die today, your courage will be remembered across the stars. Thank you for proving hope still lives in this galaxy." The weight of every soul, his 800 crew, and thousands of refugees pressed down on Morrison's shoulders. Retreat was possible, maybe if their engines outran pursuit. Or they could gamble everything in a single desperate charge. He opened the ship-wide channel. "All hands, this is Captain Morrison. We're going to attack the enemy flagship. This is voluntary. Anyone who wishes to transfer to escape pods has my permission. I won't order anyone to die for my decisions. Not one crew member moved." 800 humans stood their ground, ready to face the impossible. They had joined to explore the unknown, to defend their kind. And today, to show the galaxy that humanity would not bow to tyrants. Chief Garcia's voice came steady from engineering. "Captain, the crew's voted. We're staying. Let's show them how humans fight with our backs to the wall." Admiral Kane's chest swelled with pride. These men and women embodied the best of Earth. Whatever followed would echo through history. "Captain, execute Delta 7. Take us straight at their flagship. All weapons, free fire." The Thunderstrike roared forward at maximum burn, railguns unleashing streams of tungsten death, nuclear missiles spewing from every launch tube. Ahead loomed the dreadnought, its escorts parting to form a gauntlet of destruction. Dozens of disintegration beams lanced across the void, slamming into the human vessel as the surrounding space became a maelstrom of fire and debris. On the Zephyrian flagship, Vexathera's eyes widened as the human ship refused to falter. "They're charging us through this storm? Madness, or a courage I've never seen in all my conquests. All ships, concentrate fire! Stop them before they reach us." Armor tore and bulkheads burned, but still the Thunderstrike pressed on, momentum carrying her through the inferno. Morrison watched entire sections of his ship vanish under alien fire, yet his crew worked with cold precision. "Captain, we're in range of the flagship, firing everything." Railgun slugs tore into crystalline hull plating. Nuclear detonations ripped across command towers. Secondary explosions blossomed throughout the dreadnought as its graceful form began collapsing inward. On the bridge of his dying ship, Vexathera staggered,